The Big Story.
Miss Carmen, this may be a little difficult, but we need you to identify him. When I take this sheet off, all you have to do is tell me whether or not this is your fiancé, Jimmy Strand. All right?
Yes.
Is this your fiancé?
No, this is a corpse.
But is this your fiancé?
No, this is a corpse. My Jimmy could never be a corpse. I loved him too much for him to be dead.
The Big Story. Here is America. Its sound and its fury, its joy and its sorrow, as faithfully reported by the men and women of the great American newspapers. Salt Lake City, Utah. The story as it actually happened. Custer M. Nilsson's story as he lived it.
The refusal to accept death is a normal human instinct. You've seen it happen 1,000 times, Cluster Nilsson, police reporter for the Salt Lake City Tribune. So has Police Captain Berger of Ogden, Utah, a part of your beat. And he does what he always does in such cases. Together, you lead Catherine Carmen out of the Ogden morgue. You take her into the captain's office, let her cry her sorrow out, and wait for her to speak.
How long has he been dead, Captain?
He was found yesterday near Colville. That's when we wired you. The coroner figured he was killed just about 2 weeks ago, around July 4th. If you feel up to it, Miss Carmen, there's some questions we'd like to ask.
I'll try.
Actually, we know very little about your fiancé, Jimmy Strand. All we found on him was this letter you'd written to him. That's how we knew about you.
Oh, I see.
What was he doing around here, Miss Carmen? He lived in Ohio, didn't he?
We were to be married, Mr. Nilsson. Jimmy was on his way to California. We would be married at my parents' house in California.
Was he hitchhiking or driving or what?
He was driving.
Alone?
Yes.
Did you hear from him while he was on the road?
Yes, I had a telegram from him on July 3rd.
What about?
He said he was having car troubles. He asked me to wire him $35.
Where?
To him in care of Western Union here in Austin.
And you did?
Yes.
What kind of a car was he driving?
Why, hasn't his car been found?
No.
He had a 1941 Dodge, four-door sedan. It was green. That kind of a blue-green color.
The kind that still had the curved trunk and back with the chrome strips down it like the leather straps on the valise?
Yes, how did you know, Mr. Nilsson?
Well, it sounds crazy, but it's exactly the kind of car I drive. Same make, same year, and same model.
Did it have anything else on it that could identify it, Miss Carmen?
I don't... Yes, that's right. Jimmy had been in the Navy. On his back window, he pasted the Navy emblem.
Thanks, Miss Carmen. You have been very helpful. If you would like, you're free to go back home to California.
I'd like that very much. I'd like to go back tomorrow and take Jimmy with me. We'd like to bury him in California.
I'm sorry, but we can't let you do that yet.
Then I'll stay here until Jimmy's ready to go to California with me.
You got a hotel room, Miss Carmen?
No, Mr. Nilsson.
Well, then I'll go downtown with you, and I'll help you find one. Well, that's where I work, Miss Carmen. That's where my paper is, in that building across the street.
Oh, I see.
Now, there are a couple of hotels around here I thought might suit you. Well, they're kind of quiet and not too expensive.
Yes. Yes, thanks.
Well, what do you think of that one across the street, the Pioneer? How's that look?
That bicycle!
What bicycle?
In the window here, this bicycle store.
Oh, this English bike? What about it?
Why, it's just like... Oh. I'm sorry, Mr. Nilsson. I guess it's the condition I'm in. Anything that reminds me of Jimmy.
Did Jimmy have a bike like that?
No, I did. When I went to visit him and his folks in Ohio, I took my bike along. It was just like the one in the window. When I went back home to California, I left the bike with Jimmy. He was bringing it out to me in his car.
Oh.
That hotel across the street looks nice, Mr. Nelson. And I'm beginning to feel awful tired. I think I would like to check in there.
Once Catherine Carmen is settled in her hotel room at the Pioneer, you realize very quickly, Cluster Nelson, that she wants to be left alone. And as the days go by, your contact with her dwindles down to an occasional phone call because there's nothing to tell her. And by the end of 2 weeks, as you drive along the highway from Ogden to Logan, you have your mind on other stories, more timely stories.
Oh, for crying out loud, go ahead and pass me if you want to, but just quit honking at me all the way to Logan.
So you pull over as far as you can to let the car behind you pass. And as he does...
Go ahead. Oh, no, it can't be.
At first, you don't believe it yourself. But as you drive closer to the green sedan, close enough to see the Navy emblem on the back window, you realize suddenly that you've stumbled into one of those weird coincidences which make a man wonder about the forces that arrange our lives.
Captain Berger?
What's up, Nelson? Where are you?
Now, listen, you won't believe this, but I don't have time to explain it to you. Now, I'm in here in Logan, calling from the drugstore right next door to the Main Street Tavern. I've just found Jimmy Strand's car.
What do you mean you found his car? Where? When? Who's driving it?
Well, I didn't get a look at his face. He's inside the tavern now. If he starts to leave, I'll try to stall him, but hurry. Well, he's still inside, Captain. Here's the car.
Sure is. Have you looked inside the car?
No, I didn't want to lose him when he comes. Here he comes now.
You mean that young kid in work clothes?
Hey, wait a second. I know him. Oh, no, it can't be. Why, that's Bert Weiss. He runs a bicycle store near the paper.
Mr. Nelson, hi. What are you doing here in Logan?
Bert,
Weiss, is this your car here?
Huh? Oh, you mean this? Yeah, sure. I haven't had a chance to fix it up yet. Why?
You're under arrest, Weiss.
Huh? Oh, what does he mean, Mr. Nelson? What's this, a gag?
I'm afraid not, Bert. This is murder.
Murder? But what have I got to do with murder?
We don't like to do our work out on the street, Weiss. You'll have a chance to ask all the questions you want back at headquarters.
His car! They found Jimmy's car?
Miss Carmen, I'm down here at headquarters. Now, the police are about to question the man who was driving the car. I thought you might like to
I'll
see
be
her.
right there, Mr. Nelson.
You run the bicycle store here in Ogden, don't you, Weiss?
That's right near Mr. Nelson's office. He knows me.
Better answer the questions as they come to you, Bert.
But I don't know what this is all about. Why should I be picked up like this?
Where did you get the car you were driving?
Where? I bought it.
From whom?
Why, from a fellow named Jimmy Strand.
And we found this .32 caliber gun in the car. Where'd you get it?
What about it? I traded it. I had a .38 and I traded it for this.
What about the blood over the front seat? How'd that blood get there?
What are you trying to do to me? You're just trying to make everything look bad.
Bert, better answer the captain's questions. Now, how'd that blood get over the front seat?
Oh, but this is crazy. That's my own blood. I had a nosebleed. Before I could get a handkerchief out, it got over the front seat.
Weiss, take a good look at that bicycle against the wall there.
That English bike? What about it?
We found that in your bicycle shop. Miss Carmen, take a look at that bike. Do you recognize it?
Yes, that's my bicycle. Jimmy was bringing it out to California with him.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. He sold me the works. First he tried to sell me the bike. Then he said he'd sell me the car, and it sounded like a good buy, so I bought the car and the bike and everything in the car for $450. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Jimmy Strand sold me the whole works.
When, Bert? When did Jimmy Strand sell you the car and the bike?
When? It was a week after July 4th. It was July 11th. I remember it. Strand came into the shop July 11th. What did I say wrong, Mr. Nelson? What did I say wrong? Why's everybody so quiet?
Bert, how often do you read the papers?
Papers? I don't know. I got a shop to run. Sometimes a whole week goes by I don't read the papers.
Now, Bert, listen to me. You say Jimmy Strand sold you the car and the bike on July 11th. But that couldn't be, because Jimmy Strand was murdered a week before that.
That's not true. That's a lie. Jimmy Strand was in my shop July 11th. I can prove it. I tell you, I can prove it.
In all your career as a police reporter for the Salt Lake City Tribune, you, Cluster Nilsson, have never heard an alibi as strange as the one Bert Weiss offered a moment ago. And now the room in police headquarters is silent with suspicion and disbelief. Weiss looks tensely from you to Police Captain Berger, and then at Catherine Carmen, the dead man's fiancée.
I don't care what you say about Jimmy Strand having been killed on July 4th. He was in my store a week later alive as I am. And he sold me everything, his car and everything in it.
You said you had proof, Bert.
Sure I have proof.
What are you talking about?
I'll show you what I'm talking about, Captain. Strand told me all about himself. He was driving to California to marry you, Miss Carmen. Isn't that true?
Yes,
And
yes.
he served a hitch in the Navy during the last war. Isn't that true? On the Lexington. Isn't that true?
Yes, but
And
how...
he's got two brothers, both of them younger than he is. Isn't that true?
Captain, it's true. It must have been Jimmy. He knows all about him.
Well, wait a second, Miss Carmen. Bert, that doesn't prove a thing. Anybody could have found that out before Strand was killed. Now, you say Strand sold you the car?
That's right, that's right.
Did he transfer title to you?
Why didn't I think of that? That's my proof. I told him we needed a notary to notarize the transfer.
Well, who'd you go to? Who was the notary?
Right downstairs. It was a desk sergeant.
Healy?
That's right, Healy. He acted as notary. Healy.
Sure, Captain, but I had trouble notarizing it.
What kind of trouble, Healy?
Well, you see, the way they print them documents out in Ohio, they got no place for a notary seal. So I kind of had to figure out where to put it to make it legal, see?
In other words, you're ready to testify that Bert Weiss didn't come into possession of that car until July 11th, right?
Well, sure, after all, I notarized it.
Now, the other fellow, what'd he look like?
You mean Strand? Well, I ain't sure I got a real look at him. I was so busy with them documents. He was kind of young, kind of short.
How short? Shorter than Weiss?
Well, I'd say so. Maybe a couple inches shorter than Weiss. He was dressed kind of cowboy style with a kind of a big hat on and then blue jeans.
And you're positive he was shorter than Weiss?
Sure. I don't remember his face so good, but
according to the coroner's report, the real Jimmy Strand was about 5 feet 10. At least 2 inches or maybe 3 inches taller than Bert Weiss. So the fellow who came to see you, Healy, must have been the real murderer.
As you watch Bert Weiss come down the corridor of the police building, a free man now, you too, Cluster Nilsson, feel your knees weaken at the thought of how close to destruction an innocent man can come.
When I think of it now, Mr. Nilsson, I still get the shakes. He could have done the same thing to me he did to Strand.
Now, when he was with you in the store, did he act peculiarly in any way?
Oh, I don't mean in the store, because in the store I could take care of myself. That's not what I'm thinking about. He asked me to drive him.
He asked you to drive him. Where to?
Well, after he sold the car to me, he said he had a date.
Where?
In Deweyville.
And what happened? Did you drive him?
That was probably the luckiest move I ever made in my life. If I hadn't been busy, I would have driven him. After all, did I know who he was?
He told you he had a date in Deweyville?
Yeah, it's only 40 miles from Ogden. I'd have driven him.
Bert, how do you feel about the guy who sold you the car?
How do you expect me to feel? If I could lay my hands on him...
Good. Because I'm going looking for him, and I'm going to need help, Bert.
But where? Where are you going to look for him?
Where he told you he had a date. In Deweyville.
And so your hunt begins, Cluster Nilsson. In Deweyville, in Colville, and in Ogden itself. A hunt bound to fail, as you and Bert Weiss soon realize, because all you have to go on is the description of a man's appearance, and no description at all of his character or his habits. And by the end of a month, when you drop in at Bert Weiss's shop on your way home, both of you are ready to call it quits.
Well, you look about as tired as I feel, Bert.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not getting anywhere. I'm ready to chuck in the sponge tube.
Yeah. Well, I'm close enough.
Which way are you heading?
Going down there 25th Street. I got to cash a check.
It's my direction too, Bert. I'll go along with you.
Well, I guess this is where I turn, Mr. Nilsson.
Yeah. I go the other way.
Well, see you around, Mr.
What's the matter? What's the matter with you, Bert? You look pale as a ghost.
Look through this window.
Where?
Inside the tavern.
What? I don't...
It's the boy with that big hat. It's him. Mr. Nilsson, it's him.
Oh, the short one? The man in the corduroy jacket and the light pants?
Yeah, it's him, I tell you.
No, Bert, you got to be sure. This is hard to believe. I mean, suddenly like this, just when you don't...
I swear to you, that's him. I'll prove it to you.
No, hold on. Where you going?
I'm going inside. I'm going to face him.
Don't be crazy. He may be armed. I'll keep an eye on him here. Now, quick, you go get a cop.
If you had any personal feelings of triumph being in on the capture of a murderer, nobody could blame you. But you have no such feelings right now, standing there in Captain Berger's crowded office, looking down at Gene Everett, the murderer, the young, frightened killer in the large cowboy hat.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Ask me any questions. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's the best way to help yourself, Gene. Just answer the questions I put to you.
Sure. Anything you say.
How did you meet Strand?
Well, I stole a car in Denver, a Packard. Then out on the road, it started giving me trouble. I was heading west. Near Sinclair, Wyoming, the car died on me altogether. So I got a garage to tow her in.
Was the garage where you met Strand?
Yeah, that's right, mister. You got it right. He was having trouble with his car, too, so I got to talking with him. Then from something the garage attendant said, I got the feeling that maybe the cops were on my trail. The stolen car, you know what I mean.
What did you do?
Well, I told the garage I didn't have the money to pay for the car, and I was going to leave the car there until I had the money.
And you asked Strand to give you a lift to Ogden?
Yeah, that's right, mister. You're right. I asked Jimmy to give me a lift to Ogden because he was supposed to go west, but with all the trouble his car was having, he asked Miss Carmen here to wire him money in Ogden. $35, I think it was.
What happened on the way?
We got near Colville, see? And Jimmy said he was kind of thirsty, so we stopped in this cab.
I want another drink. I'm a man can take a quart and it don't affect me at all.
Jimmy.
I want another drink.
Hey, Jimmy, it's getting night. Maybe you had enough. We got to drive to Ogden yet.
Come on. Give us another drink or I'll break up this lousy joint.
Jimmy, cut it out. The bartender don't like it. You're going to get into trouble. A fight, Jimmy.
I ain't scared of no fight. I'll fight anybody in this lousy joint and I'll start it right now.
Look out, Jimmy. The bartender's got a billy on him.
Oh. Go ahead. Hit me again and I'll kill you. Hit me again and I'll kill you.
Jimmy, look out! What are you stopping for, Jimmy?
You lousy punk. I give you a lift and you don't even help me when I get into a fight.
Oh, look, Jimmy, you got a load on. You're wrong. I did my best. Sorry you got hurt, Jimmy.
You lousy punk. I'm going to show you what I do to anybody who won't give me a hand, who wouldn't help a friend when he needs it. I'm going to show you, you
Jimmy,
lousy
put down that
so
ring.
good. I'm going to give you a taste of what I
Jimmy,
got, you
go.
yellow punk. Go. Yeah, I'm going to give you a taste of what I got.
I warned you!
I can't stand this anymore. I won't sit still and listen to all this. It's not true. Everything you said about Jimmy is a lie. Everything you said is a lie.
Don't listen to her. It happened just the way I told you. It happened in self-defense.
Mr. Nilsson, make him stop. Jimmy's dead and he can't defend himself, but I can. Jimmy never drank in his life. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't.
I told you it was self-defense. He was drunk.
What do you mean he couldn't drink?
He was sick. Ever since the war, he had ulcers. He couldn't touch a drop. That whole story was a lie. Jimmy wasn't that kind of a man.
Why won't anybody believe me? I'm telling it to you the way it happened. Why won't anybody believe me?
What was the name of that tavern?
I don't remember.
Was it on the main highway?
I don't remember.
Take us back there.
Well, no, I
We'll
don't know.
leave right now. Take us to that tavern right now.
No, I
You said
can't.
you were going to tell the truth. Why don't you tell the truth?
Tell us the truth, Gene.
what I told you before, it didn't happen. It didn't happen that way at all. I just went crazy. I killed him, that's all. Just plain crazy and killed him. That's it. That's the truth.
I don't believe you, Gene.
Why do you say that, mister? Why do you say that?
Because I don't think you're that crazy.
No, I'm not that crazy. I killed him because he had everything, and I had nothing.
How can you say that? Jimmy wasn't rich. Jimmy didn't even have a job. And on top of it, he didn't even have his health. How can you say he had everything?
Then you didn't know him, lady. You didn't know him. Because he did have everything. He told me all about it. And it made me jealous. Because everything he had, I didn't have. He told me how, when he got out of the Navy, he was mixed up. Didn't know what he was going to do. Thought maybe he'd just end up a bum. Then he told me how he kind of pulled himself together and made up his mind he was going to get a job. Like maybe in the tool shop, the way he had experience in the Navy. That was one thing he had. He knew what he wanted to do.
What else did he tell you, Gene?
And then he met you, lady. You were going to get married. That was another thing he had. And then he told me about his friends. Like he would see them. They would see him. They would have good times together. And that was another thing he had. He had friends. Not like me. Not like me. I'm so mixed up. Sometimes I think I'll just jump off a bridge, that's all. Don't you understand? He had everything. I had nothing. Nothing.
And when he told you about all these things about himself, it made you jealous?
I wanted to take something from him. I wanted to even up the score. Just a little bit. Because he had everything. I had nothing.
Why did you have to kill him? Why didn't you just take what you wanted without killing him?
What did you decide to take from him, Gene?
The only thing I could take. The money. The $35 this lady here was wiring him and hugged him. So I killed him.
Why? Why? Why didn't you just ask him for the money?
Because I killed him. I took his identification papers and I walked into that Western Union station. I said I was Jimmy Strand. They gave me the money. And for once, I was just like him. Don't you understand? For once, it was like somebody cared about me, was sending me money and was happy, and was waiting for me. For what? That's the way I felt. That's why I killed them. Don't you understand?
We read you that telegram from Cluster M. Nilsson of the Salt Lake City Tribune.
After he was sentenced to Utah State Prison, murderer in tonight's big story fought 5 years through the state courts against the death penalty. But in September of this year, the State Board of Pardons rejected his final appeal, and shortly after, he died before the state firing squad.
In order to protect the names of people actually involved in tonight's authentic big story, the names of all characters in the dramatization were changed with the exception of the newspaper reporter.
The Big Story has been a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.